We are
on.
getting fresh reports today of violence in the Kivus, which is the border province in eastern Congo that borders Rwanda, which is where the M23 rebel group is very active. So this was a lovely ceremony, and the intent behind this is, of course, noble, but there's fighting happening on the ground now.
We're joined by US reporter Anita Powell. Good evening, Anita.
Good evening, Kate.
Thanks so much for being with us, Anita. Let's talk about what's been going on at the White House today. President Trump has been speaking at the recently renamed Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace as the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwandan leaders join him to sign a peace deal in Washington. Well, Trump started off having trouble pronouncing DR Congo's pronouncing the name, here we go, of DR Congo's leader. He's called Felix Tshisekedi.
I want to thank the two courageous leaders. They are courageous leaders. They really are courageous leaders, great people. President Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and President Kagame of Rwanda. They are amazing people, and they had stories to tell me that were incredible.
There we go. It was a slightly inquisitive pronunciation there. Just about. Maybe got away with it. He then went on to talk about the peace deal that the Trump administration's brokered between the two countries who've been at war for the past 3 years.
Two gentlemen are very smart, and I think they liked each other a lot. I spent time with them. I think they like some people may be surprised. I really do. I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other, and now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does.
Well, okay, I don't know if that was a compliment or a barb. Can't quite work it out.
Me neither. What's interesting is, despite Trump saying that, Tshisekedi and Kagame did not noticeably look at each other the whole time.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, their facial expressions, if we must be high school about it, indicated that maybe they are not the best of friends and will not be hugging and kissing as Trump predicts. But you never know. But I just want to clarify on this signing. This was the formal signing of an agreement that was inked in July and supposed to have been starting to be implemented by October.
Yes.
However, we are
on.
getting fresh reports today of violence in the Kivus, which is the border province in eastern Congo that borders Rwanda, which is where the M23 rebel group is very active. So this was a lovely ceremony, and the intent behind this is, of course, noble, but there's fighting happening on the ground now. And just to be very clear, because these are rebel forces, this is often bloody, machete-fueled violence. This is not organized armies going at each other. This is the worst type of violence. As somebody who's covered this region for many years, it's a shocking level of terrible violence against civilians, against children, against young girls and women, and it's affected. It's killed 6 million people. So this is a terrible conflict.
Yeah, certainly. The M23 are in talks with DR Congo's government in a parallel peace process led by Qatar, but as you say, not involved with this. The country's foreign ministers signed this peace accord in June, hailing it as a glorious triumph. And I suppose this is Donald Trump, if we're to be generous, trying to get this over the line. Had he not already credited himself with ending this war, though?
I have lost track of the wars that Donald Trump has claimed to end. I believe he's up to 8 now. I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, the M23 rebellion continues to expand, and that is the worrying part of it, of course. So neither of those leaders like each other particularly. Donald Trump is trying his best, but he's got one eye on the region, hasn't he? Because it is resource rich.
Right. So Congo is extremely rich in mining wealth, especially that part of Congo. And the U.S. under Biden developed a transnational rail corridor that starts in Congo and ends in Angola and then goes to port to the United States or Europe or whatever. And so this is basically the mother lode of critical minerals, of conventional mining resources and more.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go. 10 out of 10 for effort. Let's see what actually happens, shall we? I presume
The people of this region deserve peace after this long.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So potentially a breach of the ceasefire already. Basically, Anita, is what we're saying, isn't it?
Yes, and I've been reporting this for several years. This conflict has really been raging at different temperatures since 1994, since the end of the Rwandan genocide.
Okay. All right. Okay. What should we move on to? Pete Hegseth, a top Democrat senator, has said he's deeply disturbed after viewing a video of the double tap attack on suspected Venezuelan drug boats. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who was involved in the strikes, is already in hot water after a report found that he risked endangering troops when he shared war plans on a Signal chat back in March of this year. How exactly did Pete Hegseth put troops at risk? Remind us.
Okay, so telling anybody who's outside of the operational security bubble where your people are going to go puts them at risk because you don't know who's listening. And so you have to keep this top secret between the people who need to know so that when you send people into harm's way, you're not advertising that fact. Now, the best way to advertise something or to put something out there is to tell a journalist. We are incapable of keeping secrets. And that is what Pete Hegseth did, or rather, Mike Waltz, the then national security advisor, is said to have invited a journalist to this chat about strikes in Yemen.
Okay, all right. We can remember that clearly. Where could the double tap strike go? So let's just remind ourselves of this. So essentially, there was an attack on a suspected Venezuelan drug boat. Then there was imagery, wasn't there, of one or two members of that boat sort of clinging onto the side of it, and then another attack on it, which is why there's so much hot water around this effectively. Will international law have been found to be broken? How do they ride this one out?
So just on the matter of international law, the U.S. is a signatory but not a ratifier of the International Criminal Court. So basically, that I don't think that anybody could be brought to The Hague or anywhere like that because the United States isn't going to let these people out. So this is going to be settled domestically, is my point. And the way it's probably going to land first is with testimony today from the chief military leader who was involved in these strikes. That's an admiral who's testifying behind closed doors to Congresspeople today about that strike and why he carried out what is said in the manual to be an explicitly illegal order, namely firing on shipwreck victims. So, that's going to play out behind closed doors, and that's definitely been taken in hand by the Senate and House Armed Services Committees. And so that's where we're going with it right now. But it is clear at this point that the onus rests on the top military commander to listen to orders and evaluate whether they're legal or illegal. And if they are illegal, he or she is required to refuse to carry them out. And so this could have possible consequences for that admiral.
How much trouble is Pete Hegseth in? There have been question marks, haven't there, about his success as Secretary of State for War, as he now is, former Defence Secretary.
And I do respect his decision to change his name. I will not dead name him by calling him the Secretary of Defense. You saw the cabinet meeting this week where he talked a little bit about that strike. And I think the most important thing in Trump's cabinet is what Donald Trump thinks of you, period. So he seems to be in good stead still with Donald Trump. And that's really what matters, I think, in this situation.
Have there been any contenders touted should he lose his role?
I have not heard of that, but anything is possible in the Trump administration, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Prince Harry. He made a quip at President Trump last night, calling him an elected king while appearing on Stephen Colbert's Late Show. Let's have a listen.
Hold on. Look, I wouldn't say we're obsessed with royalty.
Really? I heard you elected a king.
No, he's got a point.
And after making such a big deal about my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather George III.
Well, he was kind of a jerk.
Hey, this mustn't come between you and me, please.
Is Prince Harry well liked in the US? I mean, to be fair, he sounds pretty charismatic there.
I thought that delivery was rather clunky, but yes, I think that line, of course, you heard the reaction to it. And as we say in the United States, game recognizes game. So he's definitely well equipped to talk about royalty as a royal himself. The Southern corollary for game recognizes game is spot it, got it. I learned that today.
I love it.
But
I love it.
I mean, he's definitely well qualified to speak on this. Public opinion on Prince Harry, I haven't seen any recent polls on that. And I think it would really depend what part of the country you are in.
Why was he on the Stephen Colbert show? Just because he's Prince Harry, or did he have something to promote?
He is promoting a new product, but the joke, of course, was, and I don't remember what the new product was, I'm afraid. I think it's a book. But the joke, of course, was that he was auditioning for a Hallmark movie. But as I said, clumsy delivery on that line, although it was obviously a very well-developed punchline.
And has Donald Trump reacted at all?
So I just spent the last hour of my life scrolling through all of Donald Trump's Truth Social posts today, and I haven't seen anything on it. He's mostly been calling governors names and endorsing people for office. But if I do find anything at the end of that very long list of social media posts, I will let you know. But I haven't heard anything from him today on that.
He's been busy again. Thank you so much, Anita Powell, US reporter. That was the Trump dump. Cheers, Anita.